He placed his fingers on the foreheads of the two children, and the purple-red medicinal herbs emitted a strange fragrance, looking far from ordinary. After blending into their foreheads, the herbs subtly spread beneath their skin, forming a web-like pattern. Staring at the herbs, Wang Lin sensed a faint trace of vitality from them. Although this vitality was weak, it seemed exceptionally pure. If Wang Lin absorbed it, it could help with healing. However, the vitality contained in these two herbs was too little. To heal wounds, at least 10,000 herbs would be required. The faint vitality seemed so pure because it was imbued with immortal qi. This vitality was released from the immortal qi, and although it was faint, it made Wang Lin's eyes narrow in concentration. He had never seen these herbs before, and even though he had spent quite some time in the immortal clan lands, witnessed many things, and encountered numerous jade slips containing information about medicinal herbs, he could not recall anything similar to these. Yet, he could feel that these herbs were harmless to the children. On the contrary, they could greatly enhance their physical strength. As Wang Lin observed, a look of surprise appeared in his eyes as he saw that the children's cultivation aptitude had changed after the herbs were absorbed. The darker-colored herb formed a web-like vein network inside the boy's body, concealing his true cultivation aptitude. Eventually, as it disappeared within his body, it transformed into a constitution with exceptional potential. Wang Lin, with his cultivation level, could clearly sense this, but for a second-step cultivator, it would be hard to detect. Only a third-step mighty figure would be able to faintly discern something unusual, as the herb's network had almost fully merged with the boy's body. Thanks to the immortal qi it carried, it could deceive even the heavens. This scene left Wang Lin astounded. He then looked at the girl. Her body had similarly transformed, resulting in an aptitude that was far beyond her previous potential, now being just ordinary but sufficient to enter the path of cultivation. Creation objects are truly unpredictable, Wang Lin murmured, his gaze heavy with thought. These purple herbs were extraordinary. However, if Jin Bao continues to deceive like this, once he is exposed, it will be the end of him. Wang Lin secretly shook his head. On the immortal clan lands, there were many sects, including those with third-step mighty figures. Whether Jin Bao could leave the Great Sage Province before being discovered depended on his luck. He is cautious, not greedily using the herbs on all the children. If he did, the chances of exposure would multiply once there were too many people involved. Wang Lin glanced at Jin Bao, who wore an expression of smug satisfaction, and smiled bitterly. After both children had absorbed the herbs, Jin Bao looked pleased with himself. He gazed at the children before him, his eyes gleaming with faint light. He stood up, lifted the two children, and with a swift motion, transformed into a black wind, flying out of the cave and speeding southward. Not long after, a mountain peak surrounded by clouds and mist appeared before Jin Bao. The mountain was steep and perilous, often shrouded in fog, with occasional beastly roars echoing from its depths. I've been in the Great Sage Province for a while now. I've visited many sections I had planned to leave, but after completing this last job, even if no one finds out, I need to change my identity and quickly leave this place for another continent, Jin Bao thought, his gaze flickering as he looked at the mountain peak ahead. The pills and magical artifacts I've swindled here should be enough to get me to the nascent soul stage. Once I reach nascent soul, I'll find a small sect on another continent, become a disciple, and live there for a few decades or even a century before I can go out and seek business opportunities. Jin Bao took a deep breath and flew straight toward the mountain peak hidden in the mist. Wang Lin continued to follow him from a distance. As Jin Bao circled around the outer perimeter of the mountain, he swiftly entered it. Moments later, he flew out alone, his face filled with excitement and anticipation. Without hesitation, Jin Bao flew off immediately after exiting the mountain. Wang Lin glanced at him, and his expression changed. He looked up at the sky, where a ripple-like wave faintly appeared, vanishing in an instant. This ripple was undetectable by ordinary cultivators, but to Wang Lin, it was crystal clear. Someone was calculating Jin Bao's location, causing fluctuations in the balance of heaven and earth. The changes centered on Jin Bao. Someone is calculating Jin Bao's position. Wang Lin's eyes flashed coldly. As he looked at the place where the ripple disappeared, his eyes seemed to pierce through the void. He could see a grand sect hall with 7 or 8 second-step cultivators bowing respectfully. Before them stood a strange boy, his eyes tightly shut, with an elder behind him, pressing his right hand to the boy's spiritual aperture and forming seals with his left hand, as if performing calculations. After a while, the elder suddenly opened his eyes, revealing a glint of coldness. "We found that Jin Bao. He's located several 100,000 miles away. You must use the teleportation array to capture him immediately, but be sure not to damage his soul. I need to search his memories," the elder ordered, his left hand waving forward. A jade slip flew out. "With this jade slip, you'll be able to locate Jin Bao. As for this sect disciple, send him to the outer sect. Let him earn his place there through his own efforts." Wang Lin's eyes flickered. His divine sense spread out from the ripples in the sky, falling upon Jin Bao, who was speeding forward without the slightest awareness. Wang Lin shook his head and let out a quiet sigh. Forget it. Without tasting some hardship, he won't learn his lesson. Not long after, about half an hour later, Jin Bao was still flying when suddenly 4 streaks of rainbow light came whistling toward him. Within those rainbows were the very cultivators Wang Lin had foreseen earlier, those dispatched to capture Jin Bao. After teleporting several 100,000 li, they relied on the jade slip's lock and pull to quickly locate him. With icy expressions, they rushed in. The moment Jin Bao saw them, his face changed drastically. He instantly sensed danger, yet did not flee. He clearly felt the terrifying cultivation of those 4. Escape was impossible. His eyes darted about, and he quickly shifted aside, pretending to yield the path. But in the blink of an eye, the 4 streaks of light closed in, surrounding him before transforming into 4 cultivators who fixed him with cold stares. Inside, Jin Bao's heart raced, yet his face betrayed nothing. Instead, his brows furrowed, and he glared back at them. "For seniors, I don't know why you bar my path." His voice was steady, so calm that it made the 4, sent to seize him, falter for a moment. "Seize him," the leader commanded after carefully sizing him up. With a flick of his wide sleeve, one of the others stepped forward. His cultivation was of the second step, far beyond Jin Bao's golden core realm. Resistance was meaningless. Still, Jin Bao's face remained composed, even curling into a sneer. But inside, panic swirled. His thoughts spun quickly, and he immediately guessed that some sect must have discovered the anomaly. Impudent. "Humph, no need for you to act. I'll go with you myself." Jin Bao's eyes widened as he barked coldly. The calmer he appeared, the stranger the 4 felt it to be. The one who had stepped forward to seize him paused, refraining from striking. Instead, he simply shoved Jin Bao from behind, and together the 4 escorted him away. "You dare, with your petty little sect, to lay hands on me? Should I suffer the slightest injury, my master will see your entire sect wiped out." Jin Bao sneered, showing no fear. He followed them calmly, transforming once more into 4 streaks of rainbow light that vanished into the distance. Only after they were gone did Wang Lin's figure emerge. He gazed ahead and gently shook his head. Even after capture, he keeps up the act. Jin Bao, this master he speaks of, who could it be? Wang Lin's expression was strange as he stepped forward in pursuit. The others required teleportation to return, but for him, several 100,000 li could be crossed with a single shrink the ground into inches. Another half-hour passed. In the northern reaches of the Great Sage Province, within a valley basin, stood pavilions and palaces, with protective arrays covering the area. This was the base of an ordinary sect of the Great Sage Province. Jin Bao had been brought here. Inside one of the valley's palaces, though his heart trembled with fear, his face was calm, lips even curled into a sneer of disdain. Before him sat an elder in meditation. This was the very man who had used divination and calculation to discover Jin Bao's whereabouts. His eyes glinted with icy light as he looked at him. "You have some nerve, daring to deceive Cloud Gate," the elder said slowly, his voice carrying a chilling undertone. "A trick is a trick. So what? For a minor sect like Cloud Gate in the Great Sage Province to dare capture me, you too are bold." Jin Bao's eyes did not waver as he met the elder's gaze. The elder frowned. "If I suffer the slightest harm, my master will come immediately." When that happens, not only you, but even Donglin Sect itself will bow in respect before him." Lu Jinbiao sneered. His words were slow, but filled with conviction. Coupled with his expression, they carried an unsettling hint of credibility. Hearing this, the elder suddenly laughed, though his smile was laced with even deeper cold. "Oh, then tell me, who is your master?" "Under the twin grand heavenly venerables, I serve solitary cliff heavenly venerable," Lu Jinbiao declared proudly, his tone unhurried. His calm manner and casual words left the elder momentarily stunned. Ridiculous. If you were truly a servant of solitary cliff heavenly venerable, would you be here conning others? Would you only possess the meager cultivation of a golden core cultivator? The elder clearly did not believe him. "Deception path is the conceptual realm I cultivate. As for my true cultivation, open those old eyes of yours and look carefully. Do you really think Immortal Jinbiao is just a golden core cultivator?" Lu Jinbiao snapped coldly, sweeping his sleeve. Yet inwardly, terror consumed him. Still, deception had been his life. Over the years, he had comprehended the second step of deception, deceiving even himself. At this moment, he had so thoroughly tricked his own mind that even he believed his lie. How could others not? In a corner of the palace, Wang Lin sat cross-legged, undetectable by anyone. Watching Lu Jinbiao, he could only smile wryly, eyes glimmering with old memories. "What you're thinking of is nothing more than a soul search. But let me tell you this, before you even finish, my master will arrive. And when that happens, what awaits your Cloud Gate sect is nothing less than annihilation." Lu Jinbiao's cold voice rang out as he stared at the old man. Even if the solitary cliff heavenly venerable himself were to appear, reason still stands. You were the one who deceived first. The old man could not see through Lu Jinbiao before him. That in itself was rare for him, especially since the man's calmness felt utterly real. Without something to rely on, how could he be this composed? Deceive? I, Lu Jinbiao, have practiced the deception path my entire life. So what if I deceived your petty Cloudgate sect? Did I steal your lives? Did I rob you of your magical artifacts? All I did was bring a few mortals who yearned for cultivation here, in exchange for some pills. And those pills, do you really think I would even care for them? Lu Jinbiao's expression turned mocking. He laughed as he raised his right hand and slapped his storage pouch. Instantly, a massive pile of pills appeared before him, stacked high like a small hill. Take a good look. Among these, dozens of pills came from your Cloud Gate. To me, Lu Jinbiao, they're nothing more than trinkets gained as byproducts of practicing the deception path. You really think I'd treasure these? He laughed aloud, waving his right hand. At once, the pills burst apart with loud cracks, scattering into powder. This sudden scene left the old man momentarily stunned. Forget pills. I've deceived countless magical artifacts as well. But do you think I value them? Lu Jinbiao sneered again, slapping his storage pouch once more. Immediately, dozens of artifacts usable by golden core cultivators flew out. With a sweep of his sleeve, they all shattered into fragments before his eyes. I'm telling you, these things mean nothing to your immortal Jinbiao. Dare to search my soul, and your Cloud Gate sect will be wiped out in an instant. Think carefully. I take my leave. Lu Jinbiao flung his sleeve with a cold laugh, turning away without sparing the stunned old man another glance as he strode toward the palace exit. As he walked, no sweat beaded on his brow, and his heartbeat was steady. In that moment, he himself fully believed his own words. Fear had no place in him. Only after Lu Jinbiao left the palace did the old man's expression darken, shifting with uncertainty. He stared at the powder of pills and shards of magical artifacts before him, suddenly unable to judge the truth of Lu Jinbiao's words. Never had he experienced such a thing. Is what he said true or false? If false, how could he remain so calm, even destroying so many pills and artifacts without a care? True, they were low-grade, but the sheer volume proves his deceptions must have been many. He has survived practicing deception for so long without dying. There must be a reason. If what he said is true, then I really cannot provoke him. After all, he's right. He never took lives, nor seized valuable treasures. Only a few low-level pills. The old man stood frozen, lost in thought. Meanwhile, Lu Jinbiao had already stepped out of the hall, where Cloud Gate disciples blocked his way. Wang Lin, watching from a distance, was taken aback. He had assumed Lu Jinbiao would suffer greatly this time, but the turn of events was so unexpected that even Wang Lin felt a hint of admiration. This act, it's too convincing. Wang Lin smiled bitterly, shaking his head. The old man, staring at Lu Jinbiao being stopped outside the hall, hesitated. Had I known it would be so complicated, I never would have bothered with him. Why seize him at all? True, it's safer to believe than to doubt, but to let him leave like this, scared off by mere words, that's, gritting his teeth, his eyes flashed coldly as he was about to speak. But at that very moment, Lu Jinbiao suddenly spun around. With a slap to his storage pouch, he drew out a palm-sized black wooden token. Holding it up, he waved it toward the old man inside the palace. Take a look. I'll give you 3 breaths to decide. Lu Jinbiao's voice was calm and chilling. The old man snatched the black wooden token. The moment his eyes landed on it, his face changed. 2 characters were carved clearly into its surface. Solitary cliff. The material is ordinary, just a simple block of wood, but there's a faint aura within it that shakes me to the core. It reeks of death, utterly extraordinary. And the calligraphy, it carries an air of unmatched pride. This is not something any common cultivator could inscribe. Within the strokes lies the vastness of heaven and earth. Where moments ago he had doubted, now upon seeing the token, the old man felt 70 to 80% convinced. Had Lu Jinbiao shown the token at the start, he would have suspected trickery. But after all that had been said, its sudden reveal was overwhelming in its effect. 1-2. Lu Jinbiao's voice echoed, calm and steady. Before he could utter 3, the old man clenched his jaw and flung the token back toward him. Lu Jinbiao caught it, and a dark, heavy voice resounded by his ear. Open the sect gates. Let him go. All the cultivators of Cloud Gate Sect outside the palace were stunned. Cloud Gate was one of the lowest-ranked sects in the Great Sage Province, with only a third-step Void Nirvana Patriarch, who remained in seclusion year-round, never stepping outside. As for the elderly man, he was merely a cultivator in the heavenly human decline tribulation stage. For such a trivial matter, he dared not gamble. Lu Jinbiao's expression remained calm, though he sneered inwardly as he walked out of Cloud Gate. He transformed into a streak of light and soared into the distance, flying for a long, long time. Only after reaching a deep mountain forest did he finally land. The moment he touched the ground, Lu Jinbiao's face turned pale, and his body began to tremble uncontrollably. His expression was filled with fear and lingering dread. That was close. Damn it, my entire reputation almost fell apart in this great sage province. After a long moment, Lu Jinbiao took a deep breath, gritting his teeth in pain. Such a waste of so many pills. Sigh. I made it all seem so convincing that I almost believed my own lies. I couldn't even look at those pills, and now, so many have been destroyed. Lu Jinbiao felt a sharp pain in his heart, especially as he recalled how nonchalantly he had thrown them aside. Now, regret gnawed at him. I should have held back a little. Damn it. These years were wasted for nothing. Sigh. Never mind, I'll just start over. I, Lu Jinbiao, am naturally gifted. If I lose a fortune, I'll win it back. Lu Jinbiao took a deep breath, preparing to sit cross-legged and calm his mind. But at that moment, a soft voice suddenly came from behind him. Second step of deception, you've already mastered it. The voice startled Lu Jinbiao so much that he shuddered, but he quickly regained his composure. His expression turned cold, and he turned around to face the source of the voice. Behind him stood a young man in white, with white hair, his bright eyes staring directly at Lu Jinbiao. It seems your Cloud Gate really doesn't know when to quit. Lu Jinbiao spoke slowly, though deep inside, there was an inexplicable feeling toward the person in front of him, an unease that even after successfully deceiving himself, he still felt fear. I'm not from Cloud Gate. Wang Lin smiled faintly, sitting cross-legged beside him. With a flick of his right hand, a wine jug appeared, and he took a sip. No matter which sect you come from, if you dare harm me in the slightest, my master will arrive immediately and destroy both your body and soul. Lu Jinbiao's voice was calm, though instinctively he stepped back a few paces, his body trembling slightly. He was shocked to find that in this second step of deception, he was experiencing a sense of impending collapse. The person before him felt beyond his ability to deceive. Such a feeling had not even appeared in Cloud Gate. In fact, he had never felt this way in his life. Trembling, he leaned against a large tree, staring fixedly at Wang Lin. My master is the solitary cliff heavenly venerable, under the twin grand heavenly venerables. I practice the deception path, and my master has acknowledged me. I have the master's token. Jin Bao, shaking, immediately took out a black wooden token, about to show it off, but Wang Lin raised his hand, and with a casual gesture, snatched the token out of the air. He held it in his hand. Very well done. This calligraphy was probably written by you during the second step of deception, as you convinced yourself again and again that you were solitary cliff heavenly venerable. And the aura on this wooden token, it reeks of death. I suppose you must have found a corpse, likely a powerful one, and kept this token near it for many years, thus absorbing this overwhelming death energy. Wang Lin observed the token for a moment before smiling. With every word Wang Lin spoke, Jin Bao's face grew paler. By the time Wang Lin finished speaking and smiled at him, Jin Bao's mind roared. The second step of deception, the very foundation of his cultivation, collapsed in an instant, and he slumped to the ground. This was beyond his imagination. For all the years he had spent deceiving others, this was the first time he had encountered someone who saw through his every move in an instant. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was that this person knew about the deception path he had awakened to. He even knew the second step of deception, deceiving oneself. And looking at Wang Lin's smile now, Jin Bao felt as if his soul was about to scatter. In the depths of his soul, there was an old memory of fear and dread that had been engraved into his being. The more he looked at Wang Lin, the more familiar he seemed. It was as though he had seen him somewhere before. You, who are you? He trembled, his eyes wide with unspeakable fear. You've even started to break the seal on your own. Wang Lin's expression showed surprise. He clearly saw that the seal on Jin Bao's past life was beginning to weaken. It seems that with the right trigger, you might be able to break it yourself, without me having to do anything, Wang Lin muttered thoughtfully. You told me yourself. Wang Lin took another sip of wine. This is impossible. My master is the solitary cliff heavenly venerable. If you harm me, you will face physical and spiritual annihilation. Besides, I've never seen you before. I've never deceived you. Why have you come for me? Fear grew ever stronger in Jin Bao's eyes, his words turning chaotic. Could it be that you are one of my own kind? Jin Bao muttered blankly, staring at Wang Lin. Your name is Jin Bao, mine is Wang Lin. Do you remember now? Wang Lin set down the wine jug and looked at him. Wang Lin, that sounds familiar. Confusion clouded Jin Bao's gaze. A faint struggle appeared on his face, as if he were lost in some strange state. Soon, his body began to tremble, and pain spread across his features. It seems he cannot break the seal on his own. Zhou couldn't, nor can he. I wonder if any of the others can break their seals and recover their memories by themselves. Wang Lin sighed inwardly. Unable to bear seeing Jin Bao suffer so, he raised his right hand and pressed a finger between the man's brows. With that touch, a thunderous roar exploded in Jin Bao's mind, like 10,000 bolts of lightning erupting at once. His vision blurred, and faintly he glimpsed centuries of his own life, one instance after another of his cultivation along the deception path. Immortal Jin Bao, immortal of immortality. That sounds good. From now on, that's how you'll address me. My surname is Lu, call me Jin Bao. Now that's a domineering name. Once I ascend, even the chickens and dogs will rise to the heavens with me. Ha ha ha. This saying, I created it. With this saying alone, I'll surely make a fortune in the great sage province. This place is not suitable to linger. Better head to the great sage province. This immortal has reincarnated. Of course I have the appearance of a child. How could you mere mortals understand? Oh, you mortal are amusing. Kneeling to an immortal, not to seek immortality, but to borrow immortal power to become a prince. That can be arranged. Alas, perhaps in my previous life I was a great swindler. Otherwise how could I have known the tricks of deception from such a young age? You there, shifty-eyed fellow, surely not a good man. What's your name? What? You think you should be called Su Ligua? What's this about what you think you should be called? Forget it. I'll grant you a stroke of fortune. Go to the Central Plains. Yes, the Central Plains. This immortal has divined your fate. Go there, and fortune awaits. This is the first time this immortal descends to the mortal world. Your ancestors must have been virtuous. Fine, I shall reside here and perform rites for you. I'm only 7 this year, yet I've already swindled nearly the entire village. Looks like it's time to branch out elsewhere. Little brother, that candied hawthorn looks delicious. Give your elder brother a bite, won't you? His final memory was from when he was 4, swindling the neighbor's child out of a candied hawthorn skewer. Scenes of his past whirled within his mind, each memory echoing like thunder, twisting into a vortex that devoured his consciousness. Amid the growing roar, he glimpsed yet another life of his own. He saw that life, his arduous cultivation, his pursuit of strength. Slowly, he refined his deception path. With the help of a single magical artifact, he was nearly invincible. Yet in the end, he fell before a cultivator named Wang Lin. From then on, for countless years, he followed that man in trepidation, until reincarnation and rebirth. He remembered his friend Su Ligua. Despite some unpleasant incidents between them in the past, the two shared a kindred spirit and became friends. 2 lifetimes of memories gradually overlapped, until Jin Bao's vision cleared. He stared blankly at Wang Lin, who was drinking across from him. After a long moment, tears began to flow. All of this felt unreal, like a dream. Before closing his eyes, he was still in the abode realm. Upon opening them, the dream's illusions lingered, making it hard to let go even now. But this confusion vanished the moment he saw Wang Lin. Master. Emotion welled in Jin Bao's eyes. In all his life, no matter how much he had swindled, he had never felt such genuine, soul-deep excitement. A joyful smile spread across Wang Lin's face. He looked at Jin Bao, laughed heartily, and handed him the wine. For our reunion on this immortal firmament continent, have a drink. With trembling hands, Jin Bao took the jug and drank deeply. The fiery liquor coursed down into his belly, spreading warmth through his body, invigorating his spirit. I once thought, back in the abode realm, that my deception path had already reached perfection at the second step. I could deceive even myself in an instant, make myself believe anything. Jin Bao murmured, staring at the jug in his hand. But this dreamlike reincarnation has shown me, the true second step of deception path is this. Had I understood this sooner, had I deceived myself into believing I was a virtuous man across 9 lives, I might have continued on this path after reincarnation. Jin Bao shook his head, looked at Wang Lin, the fervor in his eyes gradually calming. He rose, and with deep respect, bowed low before him. Why bow to me? Wang Lin smiled, looking at Jin Bao. Master has bestowed upon me the grace of rebirth, so I must bow. Master taught me the true path of deception through reincarnation, so I must bow. I am not your master. Before your reincarnation, you were free. After your reincarnation, you remained so. Wang Lin shook his head. Well, this immortal firmament continent is too dangerous. It's better to stay by Master's side. Jin Bao blinked, then smiled wryly, and quickly spoke. Wang Lin laughed heartily, stood up, glanced at Jin Bao, and his smile grew even brighter. Fine, you may follow me. With me around, I will naturally protect your peace. Wang Lin flicked his sleeve, and a gentle breeze swept him and Jin Bao straight toward the blue sky. I'm going to Donglin Sect. Come with me. Now that your memory has returned, your previous cultivation can easily be restored. Master, in this life's memory, I think I've seen. Su Ligua. Jin Bao hesitated, speaking in a low voice. Wang Lin's figure suddenly paused in the sky, and he turned to look at Jin Bao. Where did you see him? I hadn't recovered my past life's memories back then. I once saw a mountain bandit in the eastern continent's heavenly water continent. He had a very fierce appearance and claimed his name was Su Ligua, since I was fairly well known in that area back then. Haha, not that famous, just a bit. He invited me to his mountain, seemingly to serve me, asking for guidance on his immortal fate. I gave him some random advice and told him to head to Central Plains. Jin Bao said, feeling quite awkward. This was hundreds of years ago. Jin Bao added. Wang Lin was silent for a moment. The image of Su Ligua, the demon, flattering him came to mind, and a smile slowly appeared on his lips. Given Su Ligua's nature, I'm sure he wouldn't have suffered. If he's still alive, he must have found an immortal fate. I'll head to Central Plains soon. Perhaps I'll run into him. If I do run into him, I wonder what kind of expression he'll have when he sees me. Wang Lin's smile grew even wider. Jin Bao chuckled softly, thinking to himself that he was the first to follow his master after reincarnation. This time, Su Ligua would be at the back of the line. If they met, he would take the opportunity to repay the old grudges from the abode realm, while Su Ligua's memories hadn't fully returned. He always boasts about being the first to follow the master, using that to elevate his status and bully me. Jin Bao thought to himself, feeling an odd sense of anticipation. Jin Bao wasn't particularly familiar with Situ Nan, so even though his memory hinted at someone who had tried to become a prince and whom he had once deceived, he had long since forgotten about it. With Jin Bao in tow, Wang Lin transformed into a shadowy figure, heading toward Donglin Sect. Donglin Sect, the most powerful sect in Great Sage Province, one of the 9 sects and 13 schools, was always shrouded in mystery. Outsiders rarely knew much about the sect's details. Wang Lin had once visited Donglin Sect in the illusion realm of the abode realm. As they sped toward it, the land and the sect's mountain gate looked vaguely familiar to him as they approached. Donglin Sect was located in a region of rolling mountains, with valleys and basins formed by nature, and the Donglin Mountain Protection Array could not stop Wang Lin's steps. With Jin Bao, Wang Lin entered Donglin Sect. He didn't head straight to Donglin Pool, but instead made his way to the place where Su Dao, the 7-colored immortal venerable, had lived in the illusion realm. At the foot of the small mountain, the sound of a flowing river reached Wang Lin's ears. He saw the clear river, with fish swimming, and a young boy was collecting water. Wang Lin walked up the stone steps, Jin Bao following behind. As they passed, some cultivators walked by, but they didn't notice the two of them, as if they weren't in the same space. When Wang Lin reached the top of the stone steps, dark clouds slowly gathered in the sky. There was no sign of rain, but soon the downpour began, with large raindrops falling in torrents, splashing onto the blue stone slabs outside the hall. As the rain splashed onto the stones, ripples formed in the water, and droplets rose into the air, creating a mist that seemed to want to ascend but dissipated halfway up. This scene was eerily similar to the one in the illusion realm. It made Wang Lin feel something indescribable, as if he was experiencing a transcendence in this rain. Standing in the rain, Wang Lin closed his eyes and stood still. He stood there as if he were a wanderer who had been away from home for decades, and in a special moment, saw something vaguely familiar. He thought for a long time, but couldn't recall where this familiarity came from. At that moment, Wang Lin, with his eyes closed, connected the feeling of familiarity to the scenes from the abode realm, using his body as a link, as if he were turning into an invisible thread connecting the abode realm to the immortal firmament continent. The falling rain felt familiar. The sound of raindrops striking the bluestone slabs was just as familiar. Wang Lin murmured. After a long time, he opened his eyes, gazing at the small mountain, the grand hall, the square, and the great cauldron at its center. Each sight made him feel as though he had grasped something. Life is but a dream, and dreams are but life. This was the understanding I gained within the dream Tao on the Vermilion Bird Star. I know this realization is not the end. Wang Lin's expression was calm, without the slightest ripple. He stood there in the rain, untouched by the dust of the mortal world. Behind him, Jin Bao looked somewhat dazed. Wang Lin did not keep his insights to himself. Instead, he voiced them aloud, and Jin Bao, listening, seemed to grasp a glimmer of meaning. I once took my left hand as life, my right hand as death. Once took an open palm as cause, a clenched palm as effect. Once took open eyes as truth, closed eyes as illusion. With these 3 forms, I outlined a world of my own, a world where life itself was like a dream. Once, in illusion, at this very place, I saw a rainfall. And now, in this true world, I stand here again, and I see the same rain. The world exists in my eyes, because I behold it. I see, therefore I am. The mist rising from the rain veiled the surroundings in haziness. Some disciples rushed up from the foot of the mountain, passing by Wang Lin as they sought shelter. The rain had come too suddenly, leaving most unprepared. Yet none of them seemed to notice Wang Lin or Jin Bao. As they passed, it was as though the two men did not exist at all. With my eyes, I see this world. Every blade of grass, every tree lies within my sight. I once thought, with eyes open, heaven and earth were real. With eyes closed, all was false. But this truth and illusion are nothing more than the heart's projection. I believed it false, believed that when I closed my eyes, grass and trees vanished. But do they truly vanish? What is existence, and what is non-existence? I use my eyes to see the world, and this world also looks back at me. If I close my eyes, all becomes void. If heaven itself were to close its eyes, would I too become void? Wang Lin lifted his head, following the descending rain as his gaze fell upon the sky. I don't understand all that Master says, Jin Bao murmured from behind. But I feel that one reincarnation has made me realize the second step of deception. Deceiving oneself does not mean merely believing. It is not completion just because you accept it. Rather, it is a way of Tao attainment. While believing, you make the heavens, the cycle of reincarnation, and the flow of time itself all believe as well. To say it is self-deception, in truth, it is to deceive reincarnation. If I deceive reincarnation, then I may live freely. Heaven and earth cannot defy my will. Reincarnation cannot hinder my spirit. To deceive heaven, to deceive earth, to deceive the flow of years themselves. I did not understand before. But upon awakening after reincarnation, I finally see. Who decreed the 3,000 great paths? Who decides what exists and what is not in this world? Deception path is scorned by all beings, regarded as disgraceful. Yet they do not know. This path is one of pure mind. Among the 3,000 great paths, deception path must have its place. Jin Bao's pursuit and dream from his previous life could not be trampled. He was determined to carve deception path into the great paths. Even in this life, he was the same. Heaven and earth contain the origin. We cultivators refine the origin. Master once said, once origin is complete, one can step into the third step of cultivation. To me, deception path also has 3 steps. First, deceive others. Second, deceive oneself. And when one reaches the 3rd step, after experiencing mountains no longer as mountains, waters no longer as waters, one returns to innocence, unites the mind, and once more deceives others. But these others, this is only a name. In truth, it includes heaven, includes earth, includes the wheel of time and reincarnation, includes all things. To deceive heaven, deceive earth, deceive the very cycle of existence, to deceive the great Tao of heaven and earth itself. If Tao itself can be deceived, then I shall become immortal. All paths share the same origin. My 3rd step of returning to innocence is the same as Master's words. If you close your eyes, you do not know whether all things vanish. If heaven closes its eyes, we do not know if we ourselves exist. It is the same truth. As Jin Bao murmured, the confusion that had lingered since his awakening in this life gradually cleared. At last, like a bolt of thunder splitting the void, a brilliant light shone in his eyes. Every word struck Wang Lin's heart. As he listened, he too seemed on the verge of comprehension. Both he and Jin Bao were struggling along their own paths beneath this heaven and earth. The path of Tao was lonely. But to glimpse another's Tao was to know one was not alone, and in doing so, one could better affirm one's own way. You take deception as your Tao, to deceive heaven and earth. I take life as my Tao, to defy the world itself, to set right my reflection. Between us, in truth, it is all the cultivation of the heart. Wang Lin closed his eyes. In my eyes, the world is but a manifestation of heaven and earth. If I close my eyes, heaven and earth vanish. If heaven and earth close their eyes, I remain. If I can achieve this, if I open my eyes, then heaven and earth will close their eyes. If I am immortal, heaven and earth will fall into a deep slumber. This is the state I seek to attain, immortality. Wang Lin took a deep breath and opened his eyes. I have experienced life and death, walked through cause and effect, and amidst truth and illusion. Within the cycle of reincarnation, I searched for the self that drowns in the sea of suffering. The void origin. If there is a fourth path, it is reincarnation. This reincarnation is not the cycle of life and death I once experienced, but the cycle of heaven and earth itself. It is not about the souls being taken to the yellow springs, but the great Tao of heaven and earth. The reincarnation of all living beings. Wang Lin took another deep breath, lifted his foot, and walked forward through the rain. To imprison the path of heaven, all living beings must endure the immeasurable tribulation, leave behind the one obsession in the abyss, and devote themselves to the cultivation path. All beings must transcend the immeasurable past, dissolve their worldly delusions, and cast away the heavenly obsessions to find the path of the next life, devoting themselves to the cultivation path. To shackle the fate of doomed heaven, sealing the nether court, those who cannot attain the true Tao will remain in the sea of suffering forever, losing the true Tao, and devote themselves to the cultivation path. As Wang Lin walked, he began to hear, unknowingly, the strange Tao scripture he once heard in the abode realm, echoing in his ears and his heart. He understood. This Tao scripture was complex, and he had been ignorant of its meaning in his youth. But now, here on the immortal firmament continent, on the small mountain of Donglin Sect, in the midst of the rain, he comprehended the true meaning of the scripture. Those who cannot attain the true Tao will always sink into the sea of suffering and lose the true Tao forever. All beings must endure the immeasurable tribulation, leave behind the one obsession in the abyss. I have understood life and death. Life and death are like a rope, tied at both ends. One end is life, the other is death, connected to form a circle. I have understood cause and effect. Cause and effect are like a net, woven from countless lives and deaths, turning into a great web. All beings are trapped within, unable to escape. I have understood truth and illusion. Truth and illusion are like a dream barrier. Everyone has their own dream barrier in their heart. When you think you are awake, you do not realize that your world is a dream. Everything around you is part of your dream. Beings are trapped in their own dreams and cannot truly awaken, as though a circle surrounds them, layer by layer. When you think you have stepped out of the circle, awakened, you do not know that you are still inside another circle. The 3 questions Li Qianmei asked me back then, I now have answers to. I connected life and death, forming a great net of cause and effect. Through truth and illusion, I opened my eyes from the dream barrier, cast out the net, and fished out a fish from the reincarnation formed by the dream barriers of all beings. That fish is me. Wang Lin's eyes shone brightly as he continued walking. He understood now. This matter was also related to Jin Bao. Had it not been for confronting him about his deception path, Wang Lin would still be lost, unable to fully see through his 3 void origins, unable to understand them clearly. Jin Bao followed behind, seemingly enlightened. His gaze fell on Wang Lin ahead, and he faintly felt a strange sense of difference. It was as if Wang Lin had changed from before, but he could not explain how. It was as though the previous Wang Lin was always surrounded by a mist, something unclear, felt but not seen, like a dream, very unreal. But now, it was as if Wang Lin had truly awakened from the dream. Everything was clear. This Donglin Sect, it seemed incredibly mysterious to me before. The disciples here rarely venture out, only practicing within the sect. I thought this was just their customs and rules. But as I stepped in, I felt a sense of familiarity and understanding of the Tao. This is related to my state of mind, but more importantly, it is connected to this place. Standing on the small mountain square, Wang Lin swayed and appeared on the distant palace's peak. He stood there, letting the mountain wind blow through his white hair and clothes, looking down at the vast expanse of Donglin Sect. In his view, Donglin Sect was vast. He saw many disciples racing through the rain, and even more cultivators meditating in their homes. He saw the beauty of the mountains in the rain, and the vitality of the green trees. As he looked, a sadness appeared in Wang Lin's eyes. Su Dao? I don't know if it was like this when you were here. But now, Donglin Sect is a dead sect. All of this is a dream barrier. No wonder Donglin Sect is so mysterious. No wonder its disciples rarely leave. Wang Lin sighed softly, closed his eyes, and slowly opened them again. What he saw was the Donglin Sect that outsiders could never see.